Taylor, and I'm a licensed clinical psychologist.
And I'm Shel Millington, and I'm a licensed professional counselor.
And we're members of the Training and Technical Assistance Team at the National Center on the Sexual Behavior of Youth, NCSBY, through the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center. The mission of NCSBY is to promote better lives through better choices of youth, caregivers, and professionals in order to have healthier responses to and prevent problematic sexual behavior of youth. NCSBY provides national training and technical assistance to improve the accessibility and use of accurate information about the nature, prevalence, treatment, and management of children and adolescents with problematic sexual behavior.
For purposes of today, we're going to talk about something we refer to as problematic sexual behavior. These are behaviors that involve private parts of the body in a manner that are developmentally inappropriate and/or potentially harmful to the child or other children. These behaviors may also be considered illegal depending on the local statutes. We're here today to talk to you specifically about girls ages 3 to 18 who engage in concerning, problematic, or illegal sexual behaviors with other children.
So what do we know about gender differences and problematic sexual behavior? Fortunately, not a lot. Problematic sexual behavior is not a well-studied phenomenon on its own, although research is increasing, but still much of what we know is rather dated. We also have really limited research on gender differences in sexual behavior concerns, particularly for young children.
What we do know from research on normative or typical samples of children, there are limited differences between boys and girls in the types of behaviors that are reported. Typically, girls are reported by their parents or caregivers to have fewer concerning sexual behaviors compared to boys, but the types of behaviors are not significantly different. We do know that boys across most ages are more likely to engage in self-touching behaviors than girls are, as reported by their caregivers. We also know that boys are more likely to view pornography than girls are, although research is mixed on who is more likely to send or receive sexual messages or images.
When it comes to children and adolescents with problematic sexual behaviors, we know that girls are a significant portion of the population. Research has suggested approximately a third of school-aged children with problematic sexual behavior are female, although again that's based on work that's 10 to 20 years old. More recently, we pulled our own clinical program data and found that within the last year, approximately half of the preschool and school-age clients we saw with problematic sexual behavior were female.
We do know that rates for illegal sexual behaviors within adolescents drop dramatically for females, with recent findings suggesting approximately 7% of illegal sexual acts committed by juveniles are committed by girls. However, we want to be cautious about placing too much weight on rates of behavior, as our current data is largely taken from caregiver self-report or system-involved youth. Across the board, girls may be less likely to be identified by caregivers or external systems, like juvenile justice, as having problematic or illegal sexual behavior for a variety of reasons. For instance, it may be that a system is more willing to conceptualize a girl's problems as related to trauma, whereas a boy may be seen as a problem child, even if these children have similar histories.
When examining the types of problematic sexual behaviors exhibited by girls versus boys, research has suggested that younger girls are reported to have less severe sexual behaviors, for instance, fewer behaviors involving penetration or aggression than their male peers, but are more likely to engage in flirtatious behavior or inappropriate kissing. Despite this lower severity, girls are often reported by their caregivers to have higher frequency of sexual behavior problems than boys.
For those adolescents, girls who do engage in illegal sexual behavior, we know that they are more likely to have been placed in a caregiving type role, like a babysitter, and they often have behaviors with much younger children, such as ages 0 to 5. Their first illegal behavior is also likely to occur at a younger age than for boys with illegal sexual behavior. When it comes to what puts girls versus boys at risk for problematic sexual behavior in childhood, our information is somewhat limited. Some research has suggested girls, both children and adolescents with problematic and illegal sexual behavior, are more likely to experience abuse, particularly sexual abuse, than boys are. Further, the sexual abuse they experience may be more severe, last longer, and include multiple perpetrators.
Anecdotally, though, we see both boys and girls in our preschool and school-age programs with varied maltreatment histories, parents who struggle with behavior management, and challenges with peer relationships, and those types of concerns seem to be true for both the male and female clients that we serve. Despite not having as much research knowledge about gender differences in problematic sexual behavior, we do know that treatment works for both girls and boys. Evidence-based treatment for problematic sexual behavior in children is often cognitive behavioral in basis and involves significant behavior management work with parents, rules about sexual behavior, self-control strategies for the children, and abuse prevention. All of these techniques work equally well with girls or boys under the age of 14, with no research for young children suggesting differential outcomes across genders.
When it comes to treatment for female adolescents with illegal sexual behavior, we have less clear research outcome data on treatment. No evidence currently exists suggesting evidence-based treatments for male adolescents with illegal sexual behavior are directly applicable to female adolescents with illegal sexual behavior.
Notably, adolescent girls with illegal sexual behaviors are far more infrequent than males, so treatment decisions should be determined on a case-by-case basis. When determining the most appropriate treatment needs for an adolescent female with a history of illegal sexual behavior, a thorough assessment of her needs, maltreatment history, and other behavioral concerns should be completed. With the results of that assessment, the youth can be triaged to the most relevant evidence-based service, which could include trauma-based treatment models like trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, TFCBT, or evidence-based models for sexual behaviors like problematic sexual behavior cognitive behavioral therapy, PSB-CBT, or multisystemic therapy for problematic sexual behavior.
Thanks for listening to our discussion today. If you have any questions, please visit our website, ncsby.org, and the references we used to develop this presentation are available under the Resources Bibliography tabs. Please also feel free to email us at ou-ypsb@ouhsc.edu if you have any questions.